So this is the Z-Box. This is a demonstration video showing how the Z-Box works, the mold that is created, and going over some of the benefits of it. Here you can see that the wings on the Z-Box are adjusted, fully adjustable. The top plate can raise up and down depending on the patient's ability to support the forearms. Each wing on the side are completely independent of one another. This way you can match the patient's ability left arm versus right arm. This is a foam pad to create a solid, firm base. Helps for indexing the bag, and later I'll show you how it helps to create a firm base in the middle to avoid any skin or tissue differences. So we start out by laying the patient onto the foam base into the Z-Box. And here we will position the patient in a position that is both comfortable for them and meets the requirements that we need for the specific treatment that we are going to deliver. So again, put the patient's arms up, position her or him, the patient, to where you need them. Adjust the Z-Box to match that position, whether it's left side, right side, or in the middle. Wherever you need the arms for that position, the Z-Box will adjust to fit that. Ensure head rotation. Once set, lock the knobs down, Z-Box stays there. Carry on with the Alpha Cradle mold process. Let the patient exit the table, lay the bag down, insert the foam base pad into the bottom. And this is very important because it keeps the bag from acting like an accordion. Once the Alpha Cradle is hardened, you want a hard base underneath. You want to avoid using the Alpha Cradle as the hard base underneath, simply because it will expand somewhat unevenly and it can cause tissue differences that then you have to try to reproduce, and that can be difficult. So again, just mix the Alpha Cradle, standard procedure according to Alpha Cradle's guidelines. You can use either a 500 or a 660. I used a 660 here just to show how large the mold can become with the Z-Box. You can also use a 500 if the patient's smaller, larger, depending on your preference. So once mixed together, shake it up and mix thoroughly. And again, just follow Alpha Cradle's guidelines here. So once the Alpha Cradle product is mixed, just raise the bag and pour a significant amount under the arms, both sides, and then under the head. And then make sure to just pour down each side of the Z-Box. Avoid pouring anything in the middle. Again, pour all or majority of it under the head and the arms so that you get a good mold. That's the important part. But then pour maybe 30-40% of it, half and half down each side there. Again, avoid anything directly in the middle of the bag. So once it's all poured, massage it out evenly. Try not to leave it in a puddle. This way you have it evenly dispersed and you'll get an even growth upward. So massage it around up under the arms evenly, and then try to smear it from the middle out towards each side. So once evenly dispersed, the Z-Box is still in the same position that it was in. So once the mold starts to expand, go ahead and lay the patient back down. Finalize the positioning of the bag. Have the patient raise their arms up, and again, it will lay right back in position. Try to pull the Alpha Cradle bag out so that you get a mold around the arms. Position the patient's head. Arms are right back in the position that they were in. You can see the Z-Box is doing a very great job of containing the Alpha Cradle. Normally, either a homemade box would fall apart, or if you didn't have a box, it would be spilling over the edge of the table. It would require 2, 3, 4, sometimes more than that, sets of hands to actually contain it and hold the patient, and it just can be a hassle. Here, the Z-Box is holding it. I'm not worried about containing the Alpha Cradle, keeping it from going everywhere. I'm worried about getting a mold around her arms. Push the air bubbles out, Again, once it starts to expand, the Z-Box holds the patient. You sit there and watch it, and the patient's very comfortable. Once it hardens, you get the patient up, and then we'll actually take the bag out of the Z-Box. You can see there the mold. You know exactly where the patient needs to go. Remove the Z-Box from the table, set it to the side, and then here you will grab the Z-Square, which is the indexing system for the Z-Box and the Z-Bag. The Z-Square overlays the standard index bar that most clinics have. The square at the bottom, a very uniform shape, pops directly into the Z-Square. Holds the bag very firmly to the table. And try to do this when the alpha cradle is still a little bit warm so you can really push it down into the Z-Square and get that a good mold. So you can see a good thoracic support on the lateral edges, a good arm structure, a good head mold. The patient knows exactly where she needs to go back in the bag. You can see her arms only fit in one direction, one position. The elbows fit the contour perfectly, the forearms are there. Her head is rotated perfectly, and you can see here she positions herself into the bag. And she can feel exactly where her head needs to go. And this is very important for the supraclavicular nodal treatments, breast treatments, lung treatments. Here you see the uniform bottom of the base. The base pad allows that shape. No wrinkles under the back. And again, the perfect mold of the patient arms. It snaps right into the Z-Square, locked firmly to the table. And occasionally you need to offset the patient on the table, and you can just use the standard slide bar. Z-Square indexes directly to it, bag pops into it, and you offset it on the table.